Good morning, guys. First of all, welcome. So basically, I'm gonna talk about this blogging series, which I'll start again. So basically, everything about it. So many of you actually, I I was feeling really sad about that I couldn't finish that series previously. Like I think about 3 or 4 months before I have started that series, but I'll just show you. Okay. Uh, so what is the plan and how we are gonna do this? How? Okay, I'm searching the wrong spelling of my channel. Uh, okay. So basically, if I just this one I'm talking about, right? So many of you actually requested where is the part two and like everything about it. So basically, this was coded previous winter. So the thing is, on the next day, due to some virus and all, I had to erase my hard disk, and I totally forget this that I'm having this project on that. So I'm sorry for that basically, but no worries. Like we'll be coding like this series, total series from scratch from beginning, and I hope so. It's going to be a lot more fun. I have gathered much more information about coding and about all these technology stack now, so you will be having much more like higher level knowledge, production level knowledge, because you know for all those reasons. So basically, that is how it is. And now just I wanted to tell you that let's get started. First of all, planning is very necessary. So let's first plan how actually we are gonna make the project. So the thing is, we'll be going parallel. So like one feature will be implementing in the backend, then we'll be completing that in front end. Then again, like similar wise, right? So right, the first is authentication, and now we'll be doing much more modern form of authentication. I'll say it's much more in depth basically. So first of all, what we'll do is I'll just create a folder and let's name this app. So what should we name our chat app? Let's what should we name our blogging app? Let's call it super blogger. Okay, super blogger, that will be the name of our website basically, right? And this will be like anybody can create account and post their blog. That's the plan. Right, so I have opened terminal over here. This is part one. Like if you're watching from that part, you can just switch to this new code base. I'll be sharing the GitHub repo in the link below, and basically from there onwards we can continue. So basically, in the super black, we'll be having two sections, two separate sections. First is the front end. So let's call it front end. Instead of calling front end, let's start with the back end. So let's call it let's call it super backend. Okay. Now let's go to this super backend, and now in this time we'll be coding the full project in TypeScript. Okay, so that will be much more like in depth basically. So let's initialize a node project over here. So here's a tutorial on how to set up a TypeScript based project. So let's initialize a project. Okay, this is initializing a new node project, and it's super backend version 1.1. This is the backend of the super blogger app, whatever. Entry point, I'm fine with that. Keyword, I'm fine with that. Author Jay Prakash Pathak, right? And I'm like fine with that, and let's type yes. Basically that's it. Now what we'll be doing is start installing the dependencies. First of all, let's install all the I'll say production dependencies, so that first is Express, then I think we'll need helmet, then we'll need course, then we'll need, what else we'll need? So course, helmet, Express, what else? I could not remember. JSON web token for authentication, bcrypt for hashing and salting the password. Anything else? Okay. If anything else would come, I'll definitely install that. Okay, Morgan. I think that's it. So if anything else I'll remember after this, I'll be adding those dependencies, those npm dependencies basically. So all these different technologies we will be learning. Yeah, one more thing, we'll be using for database, we'll be using MongoDB, I think. Yeah, because that's the most easy to like create, and we have MongoDB at least for that. So yeah, and by that we do not need an ODM and or something like that, right? So it's installing, I believe. Yeah. So we'll be coding the authentication first, and then we'll be moving towards the front end part. I think this time it will be much more faster. Just I have more experience this time. So code period. Basically now okay. I have open Visual Studio Code. Basically, we need few more, I'll say, packages. First package is we need something called as a development. Sorry. We need for as a development dependency. We need first of all TypeScript. Okay, and then the type definition of a lot of things. So basically, a type definition of node, type definition of express, PRESS. Okay, type definition of what, Morgan? No, course maybe. Type definition of Morgan. A type definition of what else we are using? bcrypt. Type definition of JSON web token. Right. That's pretty much it, I believe. Yes. So let's install all of them. Right. So that those things are actually okay. I have committed a mistake. The mistake is here should be types, not type. Let's see how much time does it take to build this thing. Okay, this time we are gonna be very fast, right? So yeah, so we are done with the type definition installing and all. So now we'll straightforward go and start making an application. That's as simple as like that. Today's target is to finish off till authentication. I think tomorrow we'll be starting on the main app, right? So this is my editor. I have zoomed it a lot so that you can basically see the code properly. So the first thing I'll be doing is actually creating an index.ts file, which is TypeScript file, and not over here. Basically, we'll be creating a src folder. Inside that, we'll be having this index.whatever ts file we have. Okay. And let's move this there, and that's there. We have like the index.ts file. The next thing we'll be doing is pretty simple. We'll have to set up the whole TypeScript thing. And yeah, one more thing I forgot to install, it's TS node. So that's also a development dependency. And if you're thinking why this TS node is used for, it is basically used for executing a TypeScript file directly. Okay, but it is only used in production, so you don't expect it to use in the only used in development. Sorry, not in production. So don't use this in production. Basically, we'll be setting up some scripts. So the first is dev script, which will be okay. We forgot to install node-mon. Oh my god, so many things. Node-mon. Yeah, right. So I think that should be pretty fast, I believe. And guys, the previous project, I lost the source code, I was less thinking, what can I do? I was thinking of recoding the whole thing, but I just thought that, why to recode everything the old way or the old fashioned way, just we can just make everything in the most modern technology possible. And I think that would be much more better, right? So this time in the front end, we'll be using something called Tailwind CSS. I think after that, a lot of videos, lot of my videos came in Tailwind CSS. So dev script will be what? It will be like node-mon src / index.js ts. Okay. And one more thing, we have to write a build script. Okay. Overwrite. No. That's a mistake. Again, I think the node-mon was not. Is the node-mon there? Is the node-mon there? No. No. Should be here, but yeah, now node-mon is there. Yeah, so we are done with this. And one more thing, we have development student, and then we need a build script which will be building on the production. So this will be tsc. That's it. And then we'll be having that is TypeScript basically, tsc. So then we'll have a start script, which is the production start script that will be inside. I don't know. Let's first initialize our TypeScript project, though that can be done very easily, right? Do you need this command npx tsc / init, right? So initialize that. Yeah, so this will basically create a TS file in your project, Basically this will contain everything which you need. Basically we need only these two things. First is the output dictionary and the root dictionary, right? So we just need to configure these two things. The first is output dictionary, right? So let's call it build. You can call it build, you can call it whatever you want, basically. So let's call it build, right? So this will be a build script, and the root is src slash whatever. This is src. This is the root dictionary we have, right? So yeah, that's it. I think this will be it. If we face any error, we'll be solving them, right? So this will be at start will be npm run npm. Sorry. It will be node what inside the build folder. There will be index.js file, not ts file this time. This will be like after building. So basically those were the scripts which we need. Basically we can move forward now and actually start coding our application. So let's first import few things. Okay, we can write import statement now. Let's import a few things from Express basically. Now those few things are, and basically we'll be dockerizing this container and deploying this in the series. So you'll be learning everything basically from starting to end of application development phase. So basically we need something called application, that is the type of app basically. Then we need Express. Then we need what do we need next? We need request, we need response, we need next function. If you're thinking what all these are, don't worry, we'll be using them and you'll get it. So let's first create an app, and let's call it like this will be the type of this is application, and let's call it Express. Is it Express? I don't know. No, this is not how we do it. So let's like do like this. Like the default export from this package is this Express. So I think this can be done. Yeah. So that's the Express application which we have now. We'll be having like a few folders. So now the first folder which we'll be creating is utility folder. Inside that we'll be having constants.ts, and we'll be exporting the port. So now let's follow convention basically. So any constant will have this double underscore sign, so that will be basically process.env dot port sign, or if that is not available, we'll be starting this on port 8080, and we just forgot to write let over here. That's the port, I believe. Yeah. And okay. Let be the next thing we'll be doing is actually loading the dot. Actually, what can I call? Like we need one more package basically. So it's called .env. So .env. I don't know. We have the type definition of this or not. I'm not pretty sure. So .env file is actually a file which stores all the credentials of your server, basically all the credentials which you don't want to push it to the server. That's what we have there. Okay. Be fast, please. Yeah, so that's done. So basically we are done with .env, I think. So we can create a .env file over here. Okay, I think I'm being too fast with this. So we'll be creating a .env file over here, and let's specify a port on which our application will run. By default, let it be like 8080, and that's fine. The next thing we'll be doing is actually using this port to start our server. So app.listen on this particular port, which is port, and basically we can say we can have a callback function over here. Basically when the server starts, we'll be logging, and let's use something for logging. Should we? Do you want to use Winston for logging? That's the question. Okay, right now I'll not be using, but if you want that whole logging thing to a file, bug reporting and all, you can comment down below. I'll be adding the Winston in the next video, right? So if you need that in this application, you can comment down below. If you don't need that, that's completely fine. Okay, so we'll be doing that later on. So we can basically say that console log server started on port. What is the port name? It is called what? the port, right? So that's the port, right? So it started in port. The next thing we'll be doing is actually we'll be making our error handler and our 404 route. So let's do them. So first of all, app dot app dot use how to make an error handler. So you need 4 parameters in error handler. First is the error, which is of type error. Then we have a request, which is of type request. Then we have a response, which is of type response. Response, come on, yeah. Then we have a next, which is of type next function. Next function, yeah. Basically, that's it. There you have your error handler, right? So once you have the error handler, what you have to do is like, let me actually fill that in. So once you have the error handler, what you can do is like, let me make it a little bit smaller. It's too much big. Okay, yeah. So I think that's visible, right? So yeah. So the next thing we'll be doing is basically, first of all, we'll be logging the error. So whatever the error is, that's an error, man. Why am I writing the log? Right. So the next thing we'll be doing is sending a response with the status code 500, which is internal server error, and send. Basically the message is, what is the message? The message is there was some internal server error, right? Then we need one more variable, I think, which is we can go to the constant and we can just export it. So let export let is prod, which is production. So how will you check it? So we'll say process dot env dot node env, like node environment, is if is equal to not is equal to development. That means we are in production, right? So that's is prod basically. So now what we'll do is like basically here in this we'll also give an error stack if it is in development mode. So how will you do it? So let's call it is prod. So if it is in the production mode, then error dot stack. Otherwise, simply say contact the developer, right? You can basically put a better message over there instead of contact the developer, but that's how I go. So yeah, so once the error handler is made, we have to make a 404 route handler. So what is error handler? Basically, if any of the routes throw error, it will finally come here and that will be basically handled. Yeah. So let's now make a what? Let's now make a app dot what 404 route, right? So we'll say app dot all. Basically, this will correspond to all the requests, right? Non-error request. Remember, all the error requests will go to the error handler, right? So request response. I know you are thinking like, why the hell you're not showing like running the app? Because we'll be running this. Don't worry. Request, and we need the response over here, right? So that's how it is. And we'll be sending a response with the status code 404 dot send. Okay, there will be one more parameter which is result of everything. Like every parameter will have this. So instead of doing this, I should have done like I should have created a helper function, but so far we'll be doing that. I'm a bit lazy. So this will be false basically. Okay, so yeah, that's it. We can just one more thing, we can just call this return or redirect or okay, leave it. This will work basically for now. So once we have sent the photo, like we can say message is the route you are finding does not exist, right? Right. The next thing is we'll be saying that what we'll be saying? We'll be saying that result will be false, right? Right. So that's a 404, that's a 500. 404 means it's not found. Now here above this, if you do this, remember that these things should be like the pattern matters, right? So this should be above this, and whatever like the route specification will be here. So don't mess these things up, right? So it's quite important, right? So for now, like that's a utility folder. Let's make a routes folder, right? So this will be this will contain basically all our routes. So let's create an index.ts file basically, and we'll say import something from express. That something is basically router, right? So so let's create a router now. So basically we'll say a router is equal to new router. Okay, uh, not new router, basically a router is equal to router. This should be small basically. Come on, this should be small. Yeah, and I have imported this twice. I don't know why, but yeah, that's how it is. So let's export this. Export default this router, and basically this will be the main core router, and this like the all purpose, like the whole only purpose of this whole route is to route this thing to correct controller, right? So we'll be having controller and service right now. So this is like, I'll say like this is the pattern which we follow in the production application. So basically we'll have an API thing, API over here. This will basically contain the production, service, and one more folder which is the controller, right? So this will be inside this. Come on, so basically there will be parallel folder. That's how it is. So in the controller, basically what we'll do is we'll be creating the auth controller or the TS. In the service we'll be creating auth service. So let's like do one more thing. Let's keep the naming convention a little better. So we'll be saying auth.controller.ts. That will basically give us a better sense of what it is. And let's create a service. So auth.service.ts. I don't know. Basically, we need what can I say? We need a auth service or not. Like we need an auth service basically, but I don't know like we need an auth control or not. Whatever the thing is, we'll be seeing that later on. One more thing we need inside the SRC folder, we need models. Like this will contain all the models. So let's start creating our models. So we'll say index.ts, right? So we'll say import. Okay, have we installed mongoose? I'm not sure. We haven't installed mongoose. Yeah, that's pretty shocking. Mongoose, right? This is the main technology, I'll say main package, which will help us to communicate with our database. I think yeah. So if you don't understand any of these, like any of this topic, you can directly contact me. All my contact information will be in the description below. So yeah. I think the current version of this Mongoose is 5.1, I believe. Yeah. Let me turn on the lights actually, because it's quite dark right now. Yes. Now I believe I'm looking super cool now. Yeah. So basically, yeah. So once we are done with this, we have to install its type definition too. So let's call it /d @types/mongoose, right? So that's the type definition of mongoose. Okay, let's see what was written. So see, it is written mongoose publishes its own type, so you do not need to install this package. Why have I installed? Have installed and let it be. Who cares? Right. So let's import a few things from what? From mongoose. Import few things from mongoose. Okay. And basically, what we'll do? We will basically do what? we'll need a schema. We'll need model, and I think we'll be indexing the database as well. So yeah, all those things will be there. Yeah. Once we do that, we can call user model. Why have I named this index? I don't know. That should be user.modal.ts. Right. So I think till today I'll be doing this user model, the authentication thing. I'll be coding in the next video, which will be coming most probably today only. So right now I'm uploading this. I have some other work. I'll finish that and I'll upload the like later version of this video today only. So basically once we do that, we'll say export default model, whatever. Basically this needs to be a schema, so I'm just I cannot pass a function over here, so I'll say new schema. Now this will throw an error at me. No errors. Oh great. So yeah, there's an error. See, so basically we need to pass username, which will basically create a users collection in the database, and then we have to key user model, basically user model. Yes, that should not be model technically, that should be a schema. It becomes model after the tagging. That's for it. See, don't look at my spellings are very bad, so I'm sorry for that. So first of all, we need a user ID that is already allotted by Mongoose, so we don't need to specify that. Second of all, we need a name which should be of type string and should be required, right? So required will be true. Yeah. The next thing is we need a user's email ID, so which will be of type string and should be required, right? Next thing, we'll need a password, right? So let's call it type string and required true, right? The next thing we need what? We need created at, which will be of type date, okay, and which will be default will be the current date, so date dot now, right? And required is true. No, that's not true, like, you know, yeah. So there will be an updated at DATED updated at. The type will be again date and the default will be date dot now, right? So that's the Mongoose schema which we are using. Let's also write a database index for that. If you're not if you are not really familiar with what is data indexing, it's basically, you know, you basically index the database on some fields which you want to read, like because you know database reading is much more than database writing, so that's why I think that makes sense. You know, I sometimes I suck at explaining things, but yeah, you guys still watch me, so thank you. User schema dot index. Now basically it's done very simple, you know. So what you have to do is basically you have to pass the field in which you want to do why is that error coming? Yeah, so basically you have to pass the field in which you want to do database indexing. The first field is it is called email ID, so let's mention it 1, and that's it. So I think we have made the user schema. The next video will be coming really today in the evening. So thank you for watching. Have a good day.